What a day for the stock market today, guys. It was one of those days. We had the S&P 500 go up 1.3%. We had the NASDAQ up 1.4%. The Dow went up 1% as we had the Russell up almost 2% and the VIX down over 11%. So yeah, we have a lot to break down in this video. We're going to go over charts, stocks. We're going to talk about earnings, the usual, guys. You know the deal here on this channel. So if y'all find value, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. And don't forget to get up to 17 stocks from Moomoo. More details on that later. They're linked down below. And now let's dive into the video. So again, we had a great day all across the board today. All the indexes went up pretty much over 1% on the day. Great day all across the board. And we can see here on SPY right off the bat, we're at a big resistance right now. Like I mentioned in my video earlier today, right now we're at the top of the channel, which is right around 398, $400 here on the 4-hour chart. And we're actually right under the 180 SMA resistance, which has been resistance for a good couple of weeks now. And let's be honest, the bulls need to break out of here. The bulls need to break 400, 405 for them to continue this breakout. And if we do break 400, guys, I think the next gap to fill will be around 405, which was the high from the beginning of this month. And if that were to break 405, now we're talking a move back towards the highs from February, like I've been talking about. You guys can see back in February, we got rejected at 415 multiple times. That's where we're probably going to be going. If we break 400, then we break 406. That's probably where we're going to, the next gap that we're going to fill, right? If that makes any sense. So SPY, we're at a moment of truth here for the bulls. Tomorrow, this is going to be very, very critical as we're heading into the FOMC statement, press conference, the decision on the interest rates. This is going to be a very pivotal spot. And if I pull up triple Q, which did very well today, 1.4% on triple Q, this is looking very bullish, guys. Look at this. We're breaking out of the highs, not only from last week, but now we're at a multi-week high. We're actually taking out the highs, or not taking them out yet, but we're testing now the highs from back in February. Let me actually clear the drawing set and I'll get this more clear for you guys. Look at where we are now. We closed at roughly 310, which is right by the high from the middle of February, also the beginning of February. You guys can see it right here, clear as day. So this is a very big spot for the bulls, right? We arguably have a cup and handle forming here. If we take out 310, 311, well, we're already above 310. If we start breaking 311, 312, this could really start taking off. It could be off to the races, and maybe we start going to the highs from the end of August, being about 320. Maybe we start running towards 330. So at this point, guys, I feel like the markets are potentially pricing in a rate cut that could be coming at some point later in this year. And let me explain, right? We're having this entire banking crisis unfold right now with First Republic, all these regional banks. You guys know that. You've been bombarded with content about that topic, right? And the Fed's in, between a rock, what's the saying? A rock and a hard place. You guys know what I mean, because we still have inflation, right? Which, to battle that, one tool they use is raising rates. But if they raise rates even more aggressively here, which I don't think they're going to do for much longer, that could put other banks in very hot water. In fact, they're already in hot water now. Imagine if they raised rates to 6%, 7%. A lot of these other banks are going to collapse. We're already seeing the cracks in the system, right? So at this point, we're expecting a 25 basis point hike, and the markets are pricing that in, and they're also pricing in a potential cut later on in the year, at least in my opinion, which could be coming, especially if inflation continues to come down and we see the problems here in the financial markets, especially in these banks. Because let's be honest, guys, like I said, if rates keep going up, banks are going to get destroyed. They're going to be exposed, right? They're going to go under. Some of them are going to go under, but then again, we have the Fed and the Treasury. They're going to backstop these banks, right? But, if they cut rates, that's going to put banks in a much better position. So I think, again, the Fed's in between a rock and a hard place right now. And, I don't think they're going to raise rates much higher from where they are now. Sure, it could go up another, maybe to 5.5, 5.25, whatever it may go to, maybe 5.75. Who knows, right? But after that, with inflation already coming down, what was it at? 6%, 6.2, whatever it was. If inflation could come under the Fed funds rate, we might be seeing that cut sooner than expected. And of course, the markets would love that. Equities would love that. And we're noticing that potentially being priced in right now, especially here on the NASDAQ, which is starting to break out of some key levels, and we're testing a key level right now. So what do you guys think about that? Seriously, what do you think? Are you expecting a cut later on this year, or do you think we're going to get rate hikes for the rest of the year, which could then end up destroying a bunch of banks and potentially causing a massive financial crisis? What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. And now, with that being said, guys, let's talk about some earnings. Let's break down a couple here that reported earnings. Let's see. The first one is good old Nike, guys. Let's pull up Nike and see what they're doing. Right now, after the bell, guys, Nike is down a little bit. Wait a second. It was up a lot before. Hold on. What's going on here? Nike closed at $125. You guys can see that right here. It shot all the way to $132 after earnings. So initially it shot up about 5%. Pretty big move there after the bell. And then it lost pretty much all of that and gave back a good amount of the gains. Actually, it gave back gains and some. It went down 7% from $132 down to about $122. Now it's hovering right at about a buck 25, right at about $125 a share. So it's down just a little bit here after the bell here, after they reported these earnings. So they ended up beating on EPS and on revenue. They did 79 cents EPS versus the 55-cent estimate. So that beat. And they did $12.4 billion of revenue versus the $11.47 billion. So yeah, analysts had that way off on the revenue estimate. They crushed that by almost $1 billion. I mean, they're way off on the revenue estimate. And gross margin came in at 43.3%. And when we're looking at the different segments or regions rather, North America revenue was up 27%. Massive up move there for North America revenue. We had Europe, Middle East, and Africa revenue up 17% as Greater China revenue, which I'm not surprised this has been doing poorly, was down 8%. So Greater China revenue was down 8%. So the stock shot up initially, like we saw, 132. Now it's at 125. It looks like it's trying to regain, some of the gains from after the bell. We'll see if that happens. And, at this point on the 4-hour chart, if I pull it up, we are breaking out. We're now breaking out of this downwards, trend line that we had drawn out a couple days ago. We're now above the moving averages. And with that big move to 132, guys, almost 132, guess what? We actually took the highs out from the middle of February and from the beginning of February. The middle of February, we peaked at about 128, 127. And in the beginning of February, we peaked at about 130, 131-ish, right? So we broke out of both of those points. Now, we'll see, again, if we could retake that 130 level here after the bell, and we'll see where it goes from that point. But overall, Nike's looking pretty good. It broke out of the highs. That's a good sign for the bulls. Now, are you guys ready for this? Are you guys ready for this? GameStop stock is up massive after the bell. It closed at $17.65. It went up 4.6% on the day. Pretty good day for GameStop stock. And now after the bell, it is at $24 a share. It is up not 10, not 20, but 36% after the bell. Yes, I am not kidding, guys. 36% move here after the bell for GameStop. They ended up doing adjusted EPS of 16 cents versus the negative 13-cent estimate, so they beat on that, and they ended up beating on revenue. Believe it or not, guys, GameStop, you might look at it as a dying company, and it kind of is, but they're still doing $2.23 billion of revenue. Not bad. That beat the $2.18 billion estimated, and they inked out a surprise profit there on an adjusted basis. So yeah, this thing is ripping like no other. We're back in the mid-20s just like that, as we were just in the mid-10s. I mean, we were just at $15. Now, just like that, poof, we're back in the mid-20s, and we're actually starting to break out of some critical levels of support. You guys can see 2250. That was the high here from the middle of February, also from back in January. You guys see that, right? So if we do hold above that point, that's a good sign for the bulls. The next spot we might be testing, which honestly we're testing right now, would be about $24-25, which was the high from the beginning of February. And if that were to break, guys, which you can see right here, boom, if I zoom in, you guys will see it. If we break out of this point, this could be really off to the races. Maybe high 20s, Maybe it starts going 30s again. It's definitely possible, guys. So GameStop, GME is looking really good, and I'm actually curious, is AMC moving after the bell? Probably not. Yeah, I mean, why would it? It's not really correlated, but since they are meme stocks, Wall Street bet stocks, whatever you want to call them, yeah, it looks like AMC is creeping up a little bit. Is not Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, is that moving up? Oh, it is a little bit, guys. It shot up to 90 cents. And by the way, I made a Bed Bath & Beyond video earlier today where we talked about the stock, what I'm looking to do. We broke down some charts, financials, all that good stuff. Go check it out. It's from earlier today, guys, of course, after you watch this video. So I'm keeping my eyes on the meme stocks, GameStop, Bed Bath & Beyond, AMC, as we are seeing GameStop shooting up 35%, which is pretty intense. And I'm not sure if you guys saw, you probably saw, but the big tech names today did very, very well. We had Google up 4%, and look at this, lo and behold, like we called out, not to toot my own horn, but we broke out of this critical point of resistance being about 103-ish, 104. You guys can see based on this trend line that I drew out, we broke out of that point, which was resistance from the beginning of October, all the way up until now. I mean, yes, we broke out of it after they reported earnings in the end of January. Actually, that was early February. We broke out of it, but that didn't last long. You guys can see it didn't last long. We hit 110, then we got right back under $100. In fact, we got all the way back to the 80s, and now we're starting to break out again, which is a great sign for the bull. So by the looks of it, guys, Google could be going anywhere from 108, 110. Maybe it starts going 115 again here in the short term. This is looking great. This is looking very bullish, in my opinion. And you want to know what else is looking pretty bullish? It's starting to turn to the bullish direction. It is Tesla, guys. Tesla had a massive day today, up 8%, $14 day. And look at these two distinct higher lows that I drew out. I actually called this out on my Patreon, which I post all my thoughts throughout the day, charts throughout the day. You get access to my Patreon portfolio on Patreon. There's also a Discord chat, shameless plug, link down below. We called this out earlier, and I think it was at like 190 when I called it out, and this thing ended up going up clearly way more. Now we're again, putting these higher lows in. Now we're breaking out of the moving averages. And, we completed that head and shoulders a couple days ago. Now we're starting to break out of the neckline. This looks like it could start going back towards 200. It's crazy to say, although I think it might be overvalued from a long-term perspective. This could still be, it could be one where bulls really gain momentum to take it back to 200, 210, 215. It doesn't matter if it's arguably overvalued for the long term. It could still rip in the short term. You guys know that. That's how stocks work, right? So I can see Tesla, by the looks of it right now, continue this run, maybe towards 200, 205, 210. That's where it could be going. And we also had Snap today do very well. Snapchat, let me pull it up. Ticker symbol SNAP. This one up 7%, almost 7% on the day. It went up about 72 cents, closed at $11 and roughly 40 cents. And what we're noticing with today's move, guys, is it's above the moving averages, and we're taking out the highs from last week. Very good sign. The highs from last week were about $11.15, $11.20. We're clearly breaking out of there. And at this point, guys, where's the next main resistance? I mean, right here, I guess you could argue in the mid-11s is a resistance from back a couple months ago, back in, looks like October, heading into November. So this is a little bit of a sticking point, but if we plow right through 1145, 1150, which is where I'm going to set my alert, there could be a huge move coming on Snapchat. Maybe it starts to run back towards 12, 1250, 1275. That's where this thing could be going. So Snapchat looks extremely strong right now. No doubt about it, in my opinion, especially if it breaks 1150. And before we talk about the next couple of stocks, guys, if you haven't gotten up to 17 stocks for Moomoo yet, what are you doing? Pause the video, stop the video, use that link down below, or actually don't stop the video because you won't hear this part. Use that link down below, open up an account, you get 1 free share of stock. If you deposit at least $100, you get another 4 free shares of stock plus 2 shares of either ticker symbol AI or BBAI. So if you deposit $100 right off the bat, you're getting 7 free stocks. And get this, if you deposit at least $1,000, guys, it gets better. You get another 10 stocks, totaling 17 free stocks. So if you want some free money, you want to help out the channel, use that Moomoo link down below. All the details are down below. And with that being said, let's continue on here. So the next stock I want to talk about, which I actually haven't talked about in a couple weeks, it feels like at least, is Enphase, ticker symbol symbol ENPH, which, let's be honest, it's not reversing on the 4-hour chart, although it did go up 8% today. Great day for Enphase, back up over $200 a share. It's not reversing yet, but it's right at a big resistance, right by the moving averages here on the 4-hour chart, which if I pop, let's say, the 20-day chart up, you're going to notice, boom, this is also a big resistance on the 20-day chart, right at about 210, right about 209. So if we start getting out of this point here, out of this trend line, we start breaking out on the 4-hour chart as well, this could start gaining momentum. And if we pull back the layers a little bit, let's pull the 3-year up. The 3-year chart is showing us, hold on, wait a second, it isn't an uptrend still. It isn't an uptrend, even though the 4-hour chart looks like crap. It does, I'll be honest. The 4-hour chart does not look good at all. That's why sometimes you have to peel back the layers and look at the larger time frames. And again, on the 3-year chart, clearly we're still holding an uptrend. We're right by the 180 SMA. We're right at a higher low. Now all we have to do is start to break out on the 20-day chart, on the 5-day chart. And if we do get that confirmation, that is when I'm going to consider taking a trade here on Enphase, maybe to ride it back up. Let's see here on the 4-hour chart. Maybe it starts running back mid 200s. Maybe it starts going up even higher than that. So Enphase, I'm liking here. It looks pretty good in my opinion. And we had a pretty strong day today in oil. We can see today crude oil, although it's still in a downtrend, don't get it twisted, guys. Crude oil had a 2.5% green day today. Not too bad. And XLE ended up going up about 3.5%, cracking back over $80 a share. So right now, let me actually clear the drawing set and show you guys what's going on here. We're arguably holding, we are holding a higher low right here in XLE. You guys see that, but at the same time, over the past couple of months, we've been putting in these lower highs, 95, 93.15, $89, 87, and right here at about 81, 80, 82 bucks. That's the next one that we're currently testing right now. So, in my opinion, we have to wait and see direction, which clearly at this point, bulls are fighting, but we're not completely breaking out. Now, if we break above the 50 SMA, maybe above 81 bucks here on the 4-hour chart, maybe we start making a move back to the mid 80s, but we're not seeing that quite yet. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for here in the short term. So I'm going to set my alert at $81, mark is at or above 81, and we'll see where it goes from that point. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any content, and check out my second channel, Stas Talks Money, if you guys want more content from me, more money related, personal finance related. That's on the Stas Talks Money channel. Don't forget to also check out the Patreon and get up to 17 stocks from Moomoo. Link down below is free money, guys. It also helps out the channel. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.